Any other new business? Anybody know of? All right. Under mayor's notes, I noticed, looked at a few hours ago, our COVID numbers came out. We're at 104 active cases for the population of 29,000. And so they seem to be hovering between 65 to a little over 100. So on active cases, that's doing pretty good for the area. I know some of you seen the award ceremony for the police department there Saturday night. Top shot, all right. I don't know how long to talk. And what were the other awards there, Chief? You had, Officer of the Year.
Officer of the Year of our day shift and night shift, also communications officer, and then two, how do we word it? Outstanding service and line of duty awards that went out.
So that was a good time was had by all there. And we've got an awards banquet coming up with the fire department coming up Thursday. This past weekend, you also had, Wreaths Across America came through on Sunday. I was able to be there, and then also the community Christmas party. So a lot going on. Anybody that is interested in running for a city council position, today was the opening day, and for signing up for city council. But as far as for me and my family, we'd like to wish everyone out there a safe and blessed Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. That Christmas is just right around the corner, and hope everybody is, whether your family is close enough that you're able to be together, whether you do Skype, Zoom, whatever, and do it over the internet, you're able to sit down and be with family and friends over this holiday season. So just remember that it's a pleasant time of the year to be able to be around each other.
When you were through, I did have something about
Okay. All right. So, all right. So we're to.
Thank you. I have received just a couple of calls about this, but I didn't realize it. Have the trash receptacles been taken off the square?
Yes.
Yeah, several months ago.
Yeah, well, how come? I mean, obviously it wasn't being picked up, but.
Because in the past there was more foot traffic on the square, and now everything that was coming out of there was coming out of the businesses. And hardly any of it was from foot traffic, and they were all in disrepair. They were concrete, they had been replaced, the metal ones had been replaced with concrete ones. They were all busted up, and I believe those were bought quite a few years ago by the Downtown Beautification Committee.
Right.
So there was no money to replace them, I guess. I don't know if there's still a downtown beautification thing or not, but.
Well, yeah, I don't think there is, but I just wondered if, of course, this winter wouldn't be a good time, but hopefully we're gonna have a lot more downtown traffic, because businesses really are opening up there, and the square looks good with open businesses. And I just wondered if that would be something you all might want to consider down the road, is getting some trash receptacles for people that are shopping. And this would be, like I say, maybe more in the spring, when people get out more and we have maybe a vaccine going, or the pandemic is lessened, or however you want to phrase this. But at some point, I think that we're going to see foot traffic pick up on the square.
Why don't we revisit this
And
in the spring?
exactly.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Rotary Club is working on, you can get grants through the Rotary for projects, and they've been approved to do some trash cans on the square. And they also have agreements made for them to be empty.
Downtown?
I'm not exactly sure when that's gonna happen, but I mean, probably in the spring.
Yeah. You should ask.
Oh, that's great news.
Is that gonna be somebody outside of the city government putting in that?
Yeah. It's a trash company in town.
Fair enough, I'll just make sure you didn't have to keep.
Have agreed to keep them.
Right, yeah, that's wonderful, thank you, Brenda.
Yeah, good idea. All right.
When do you think that'll be in place, this spring?
Probably COVID, of course, you know, it's kind of messed everything up.
Yeah, I know.
Like it has for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. And it didn't, I don't have to have a date, I just thought, you know, we don't
Probably.
really need it this winter.
Yeah, probably this spring.
Yeah, that's great, thank you.
Good.
Okay. All right, public comment. Okay. Okay,
I think you had one standing up.
Yeah, we're here on behalf of some,
come on up front.
Yeah.
What is your, name?
Skylar Cornell. We're here on behalf of a few citizens in the Miles Richardson edition, that have concerns about a business that's opened up. We've got a petition here that's been signed. If you all want a copy, I can hand this to you all. It just reads that, as a property owner in Miles Richardson subdivision, we have some rising concerns about one of our neighborhood residents using their residence as an office for a home occupation. While we wish no ill will towards our residents, we feel it is important to protect our neighborhood so that our residents' investments and rights are protected. Our neighborhood is filled with young children, you know, riding bikes, roller skating, etc. And the increased traffic associated with having a home occupation in our neighborhood puts those children in our neighborhood at an increased risk and hazard. We have seen many of the clients speeding through the streets, parking in the road, etc. Nothing should be more important than our children and grandchildren's safety while they stroll our streets. Each of us have made significant investments into this neighborhood for the peace and safety that it provides. Allowing a growing occupation in our neighborhood strips that away from each of us. Any home occupation that increases traffic in the neighborhood increases risk and hazards and is a nuisance. As a Miles Richardson property owner, I agree that I do not believe we should have home occupation of this type in our neighborhood. The safety of our kids and peace among our neighbors is what makes our neighborhood great, and we want to be protected. And we have 28 signatures on here, so.
My name is Franny Evans. I live in the Miles Richardson edition. I have spoke with Miss Nelson, and she informed me that she is receiving clients into her home where she does COVID antibody testing, I think like a hormone treatment type procedure, some other things. We've noticed increased traffic, Bob truck coming in with supplies. But what I wanted to say was, I appealed to her and I wanted to appeal to you. Our home is our single most, or one of our biggest investments. We purchased in this neighborhood because it's quiet and we like the atmosphere there. I understand that to have a business in your home it's convenient for them, but I understand that it cuts a lot of overhead. There's a commercial business expense that she doesn't incur. But what I wanted to say to you was, her family receives the benefit, the financial benefit of not having to go out and purchase, rent, and all the overhead for a commercial business. But it is at our expense, because first of all, it sets a very dangerous precedent in our neighborhood. If someone in the future decides to do the same, then we have multiple people in our neighborhood, which is a residential neighborhood with commercial businesses. You have all the increased traffic. You have the potential of putting our safety at risk by bringing in all these other people into our neighborhood that normally would not be there. And we are opposed to it. We have explained this to her. But also, my biggest concern, should my husband and I ever decide to sell our home, it may, number one, affect the price that we could resell our home for, but more than that, it may, in a lot of potential buyers' minds, disqualify us. They might not even consider our home because we live in a neighborhood where there is either one or more commercial businesses. I understand, like I said, their thought, it's convenient for them and it saves them a lot of money. So it's a benefit to them. But it is at our expense. And we then have to suffer the potential of not being able to sell our home, getting less out of it, our personal safety, and just the overall atmosphere in the neighborhood suffering. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Diane Sledge, and I don't want to ramble, so I'm going to just read mine to maybe save y'all some time. But we do appreciate you listening to our concerns. My husband and myself live on Caitlin Street, and my son's family, which includes 2 of our grandchildren, live 1 street over. My other 2 grandchildren are in the neighborhood a lot. We manage dozens of houses in Kennett spread throughout the 5 wards. In the past, over the last 20 years, I have asked various code enforcers that have been employed by the Kennett City about zoning. And they have informed me if a property is zoned residential, and if the resident is going to try to do an occupation there, and if the occupation brought outside traffic flow, that would annoy others, and it would not be allowed. And there were very other valid reasons also, but I'm sure y'all are aware of that, because y'all all have homes and you live next door to people, and you can think of various reasons you would prefer not to be outside in your yard and 5 people drive by and you have no idea who they were. Because we are very accustomed in our neighborhood to knowing 90% of the people that drive by at all times, because it's small town USA. Now, if the issue that's of concern tonight is supported and assured by the city as completely acceptable, it appears that I will no longer have grounds to make the clients under one of our agreements go to a commercial area to do their professional work, even if the client's home occupation would be bringing in nuisance additional traffic. In that case, it's very possible offices uptown will be spreading to residential neighborhoods if it's a family's business and the family living there with the business would probably, it'd be much cheaper for them in several ways. Excuse me if I sound this, it's hard to talk behind this mask. I may pull it down a little bit. If neighbors in a neighborhood where they live say it's a nuisance, I would expect the council to believe them. Letters were delivered to the homeowners on Jill Street, Allison Street, Caitlin Street, and part of Carter Street Sunday afternoon by the family members of the family which lives at 1815 Caitlin, saying the city had assured them no ordinance were being broken and that the city agreed with what was going on occupationally there at their house. But how can this be, and why is this information given to them before other neighborhood residents had a chance to share these concerns at this meeting tonight? 12 of the residential homes we manage are close to this building we are meeting in tonight. They are in Baker Addition, Vargas Addition, College Street. And we try to mostly purchase homes in residential, but in the future, if this issue is accepted and supported by the city, it could be real discrimination if we do not let our clients have home occupations in their homes, even though it is bringing in nuisance traffic with parking problems. I understand that 3-1.32, page 26 of the Kennett zoning book says some occupations can operate in home. But on that same page, item D also says no generation of vehicular traffic or parking demand to a degree which creates traffic problems or hazards. If so, the occupation in home doesn't meet the criteria of being allowed. The ruling made by the council will affect neighborhoods in all 5 wards. We already have a registered nurse, an electrician, a building trade individual, an accountant, and a salesman in the various residences that we manage throughout the 5 wards. Because of your assurances to 1815 Caitlin, can all of the residences in my previous sentence now have their trade as a home occupation, regardless of bringing in that same neighborhood traffic and parking on the street? We are wondering if the city will face litigation for approaching this issue, and if some child or adult is hurt and killed by the increased occupational traffic that has been ruled on as acceptable. We just need your documentation of your ruling on this, and because we all know that since something is done before, it is looked upon as an acceptable example and rule to follow again. Is there anything that it's very difficult to occupy this mask because don't get dry and then you put it back up and didn't know what to do. I also just want to ask the question, because I do like to do things the proper way. And when I taught school those 26 years, we had a chain of command we went through, and I thought I had it down to a science. But I feel so inadequate knowing the chain of command in city government to register a concern or anything. Mr. McVeigh could tell me if he wants to, or maybe the mayor or anybody. I just want to know, what is the proper chain of command to share a concern? Because we want to do it the right way.
You're doing it. You're doing it.
Okay. Who would you talk to first?
Councilman. Your councilman?
Okay. Is that the only people that we really need to talk to?
No, they may send you somewhere else.
Okay, do we need to talk to the mayor?
You can talk to the mayor, yes.
My experience when talking to the mayor 3 times, I became well aware, he repeated my conversation to the resident at 1815 Caitlin, because a family individual member came to our location and approached me about it. And I just want to know, is that the mayor's description to handle his duties like that?
That's up to the mayor. Public record.
Huh?
It's public record.
Okay. Okay, I just don't think hopefully, in most cases, people will be really civil to each other. But do you have to keep reporting back to them every time there's a call made without them checking with you?
As in,
But when we have conversations and stuff.
well, there's a complaint lodged against somebody, I'm gonna go and ask them about the complaint.
Okay. I'm really confused, and I'm not really trying to brag out on anybody. I just really want to know, and I feel like this is a good time to do it. Was this ruled, when we got that letter, it said everything was acceptable, and there was no ordinance has been broken whatsoever. Is that really ruled on before we have meetings?
There hasn't been any kind of.
Let me clear that.
Okay, please. I'm just grasping how to even ask the question.
Okay,
I don't really know enough to ask.
I was the one that sent an email, Ms. Nelson, that she asked, what's acceptable in a home occupation. I cited to her our ordinance, which is what the city, it's the law of the city,
And as long as she complied with all the requirements of the ordinance, she was okay. I didn't say she was okay. It wasn't a ruling.
Well, there were some people that wanted to sign that paper, but after they got that letter Sunday, they said we can't sign it because she said everything was completely agreed upon by the city, even though they told us it was perfectly in our rights. And I just really wanted to try to understand it.
Well, as long as she's complying with the ordinance,
And all the criteria that goes with it.
yes,
Okay, I understand now, and I appreciate you telling me.
yeah.
That's as far as the city goes.
Okay.
Okay, now, there's the covenants of the neighborhood, and that's another issue altogether.
To be honest with you, because of kind of being associated, being associated with properties throughout all 5 wards, plus living on that street, I mean, myself, I don't think this is a neighborhood problem. I think it's setting a precedence for
Well-
the whole town, and that's why I was asking.
Okay, that's a different story because altogether. Yeah, because the ordinance with the city says that the only people that can do a business out of their home would be a physician, no one else. And
No,
I've
it
had,
doesn't say that.
I'm sorry?
It does not say that
There's more.
at all. It doesn't say that the only business, the home occupation is physician. It sets out the criteria of what is a home occupation and what meets a home occupation. And it includes examples: physician, dentist, attorney, engineer, architect,
Well, I
art
copied it down
studio,
out of the book.
dressmaking.
I'm sorry, I thought you were through. I could tell the people that. I copied it down out of that blue book. Registered nurse was listed, electrician was listed, building trade individual was listed, an accountant was listed, a salesman was listed. And like in our neighborhood, you know, we're kind of heavy with, huh? You don't find it listed?
No,
Do you have that blue book?
I have the blue book, but I took this out of our
And it was-
ordinances, which is identical.
It was, the book's in the car. I'll go get
No, you
it.
don't need to go get the book.
Uh-huh. But I'm just
I
saying,
believe you, but the point is, it lists the criteria of what a home occupation is.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they meet the criteria of a home occupation, they're good. And physician, dentist, attorney, and all those were just cited as examples.
okay, but I guess my next concern was, and I really do want to know, because like I say, I do this all over town, and I need to know, and I think the whole town needs to be more knowledgeable. On that very same page, there's item D, and it says that no generation of vehicular traffic or
That
parking.
is one of the criteria.
And so if a business doesn't meet the criteria, it is not allowed.
That's right. It
Okay.
creates
That's all I'm saying.
it creates substantial traffic problems.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Miller.
Hello, my name is Kim Cannon, and I actually work with Tiffany. And I actually am a resident previously of the Miles Richardson Edition as well. I moved out there and I was not provided the covenants that are you're held to out there. I've never had a copy of those.